It's really sad, Matt. To see the situation of both Caterham and Marussia in. It's really sad, and it's not nice seeing teams go into administration and then potentially going bust. I mean, we saw with HRT, they started in 2010, and then by the end of 2012, they were defunct and went out of business. So it's not nice seeing Marussia and Caterham in administration. And Marussia, it goes from, at the moment, just goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? They go into administration, and then we all know about the situation with Jules Bianchi, still in the stable but critical condition. And my prayers are still with Jules and his family. Really want to hear some good news about Jules. So Jules, keep fighting. Thoughts to Jules. And for Caterham, it's been a very difficult. 2014 has been a really turbulent year for Caterham, and they are in a mess. They really are in a total mess, and unless they don't find new investment, honestly, can I see Caterham on the grid next season? No, I can't. As for Marussia, if they're able to find investment, and if they were to hold on to ninth in the constructors, financially that would be such a massive boost for Marussia. So I hope Caterham and Marussia can pull through this, but at the minute, both teams are struggling to find investment. Certainly hope not, Anton. And like I said, it's really sad to see the situation that Marussia and Caterham are in. But I guess the good news is Haas F1 will be coming into the sport soon, so that's good. And potentially Audi, which Audi coming into Formula One as well. So there are some new teams coming that are coming into F1. Audi could be, but we know Haas F1 will be making an entry soon. So yeah, good to see them. We could see them on the grid next season. I hope there is less than 18 cars. I'd like to think that Marussia can get through their financial difficulties, but I just fear for Caterham. I really fear for Caterham, and I just think that potentially they might not even be on the grid next season. So to answer your question, Anton, will there be less than 18 cars in 2015? No, and I certainly hope not. To be honest with you, I can't see it happening, and I don't think Dr. Helmut Marko would want that to happen. To be honest with you, Toro Rosso, we've seen them blooding youngsters, and then they've gone to Red Bull. You look at Daniel Ricciardo, now Danny Kvyat, and of course not forgetting Sebastian Vettel. So, I don't think Dr. Helmut Marko would want Audi to take over Toro Rosso, but strange things have happened. So never say never, but personally, from my point of view, I hope Audi don't take over Toro Rosso, because I actually think Toro Rosso have done well in Formula One, and a good solid midfield team, and occasionally they've caused the odd surprise result, and they've surprised one or two people. So I hope Toro Rosso stay as they are, and if Audi were to come into Formula One, I'd hope that they would come in as a different constructor team, rather than taking over Toro Rosso. So who should partner Max Verstappen at Toro Rosso next season? Personally, from my point of view, I would love to see Jean-Eric Vergne remain at the team. Whether that happens, I don't know. But I think Jean-Eric would be the perfect benchmark for Max Verstappen. Jean-Eric's got experience. He's a very good driver. I've always rated Jean-Eric, and I think it would be such a shame if we were to lose him. And I just think that he's the perfect benchmark for Max, and Max can learn so much from Jev. And yeah, so I think Jean-Eric Vergne would be, for me, I'd like to see him partner Max Verstappen at Toro Rosso next season. If Toro Rosso were to go for a younger lineup, I'd pick between two drivers, either Carlos Sainz Jr. or Joey Palmer, who won the GP2 series this year. So if Toro Rosso were going to go for a young driver lineup, I'd say they should put I'd put Joey Palmer alongside Max Verstappen. But like I said, I think Toro Rosso should stick with John-Eric Byrne. You know what? It would be strange if Fernando Alonso wasn't on the grid for 2015. But it does, seem that he is on his way to McLaren, and then that raises questions about Jenson Button's future at the team. Even though Jenson's put in some very strong performances recently, and Kevin Magnussen, I'm sure he faces an anxious wait as well to see if he'll be with the team next season. So it would be strange to not see Fernando on the grid. There's been talk about him taking a year out, but then if he was to take a year out, where would he go for 2016? I'm not so sure, and I'm not entirely convinced that Mercedes would change their driver lineup as it is ahead of the 2016 season. So Fernando Alonso, I think, will be at McLaren next season, but I certainly think it would be strange if he wasn't on the grid for 2015. It definitely looks like the Drivers' Championship is going to go down to Abu Dhabi, and as fans, that's exactly what we want. So I do find the double points abysmal, and I don't know what was wrong, with the current point system and why they can't use that at Abu Dhabi. But the FIA have made the decision, and it's weird and it's strange that even if Lewis Hamilton was to win at both Brazil and at the USA, and Rosberg was to come second in those races, and in Abu Dhabi Lewis was to not finish and Nico was to win, then Nico Rosberg would end up as world champion. It is going to go into the final race of the season. I certainly hope it does anyway. But yeah, Mercedes have they've had a really strong season this season, and they should be proud of the way of what they've achieved this year. You've got to give credit to the management as well for sorting out the issue between Lewis and Nico, especially after the incidents that both drivers have had this season. Before Abu Dhabi, we've got two fantastic races coming up at the US. Brilliant track at Austin. I certainly love it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who likes the track. The drivers love it as well, so that's a nice track. And then obviously we go to Interlagos, Brazil. Classic track. We've had so many classic races, and there's always the potential for us to have a wet race at Interlagos. So two cracking races coming up next, and then obviously the season finale at Abu Dhabi, and where I personally think the Drivers' Championship will be decided.